Now to a major story update we've been working on, a story we've been following extensively now for months, even years. Remember this disturbing photo? It was taken by a 14-year-old girl just after she used the bathroom on board a Boston-bound American Airlines flight back in 2023. That is a cell phone with its camera on, taped to the underside of a toilet lid. And the man who put it there was the very same flight attendant who had led that young girl to the bathroom in the first place. Well, she was quick thinking. She took a picture of it and then went back to her seat and told her parents. This week, a judge sentenced 38-year-old ex-American Airlines flight attendant Estes Thompson to 18.5 years in prison. Thompson's sick scheme unraveled after that 14-year-old came forward with the FBI finding recordings of 4 other girls using the bathroom on Thompson's phone. Some of those victims were as young as 7. All flights were on flights that Thompson was working on as a flight attendant. The FBI also found hundreds of AI-generated images of child sex abuse on Thompson's iCloud account. Prosecutors telling the court this week that Thompson, quote, robbed 5 young girls of their innocence and belief in goodness of in the world and of the people they encounter in it, instead leaving them with fear, mistrust, insecurity, and sadness. Joining us now is Brian Claypool, a criminal defense attorney. And Brian, I'm going to start with you. The FBI found this flight attendant had recorded 5 young girls on his flights. It's disturbing he got away with it for so long, but he only pled guilty to 1 count of attempted sexual exploitation of a minor. How did he get off so easy?
Yeah, hey, Elizabeth, great to be back with you. First thing I want to start with is I've represented over 150 victims of child sexual abuse over the years, and this is a form of sexual abuse when you exploit minor children by filming them like this. And it's also an invasion of their privacy rights. And before I even comment on the case, I will tell you, I have dealt with the after effects of kids that have gone through stuff like this, and they have trust issues, for example, for the rest of their lives. They have been violated to the utter core, and it will affect them, and the PTSD from this will affect them throughout their life. That said, look, at the end of the day, I've seen this happen in sexual assault cases where the DA's got 5 or 6 kids and they only charge with 1 or 2. I don't think that takes away from the amount of time that he's going to serve in jail. I mean, 18 years, it's federal sentencing. He's not going to get out before he serves 15 or 16 of those years. So I do think the punishment is stiff enough.
Want to switch gears to another story we've been closely following. Brian, there was a major update on the case of the 2 men who were charged with the murders of those 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans who were found in the backyard of a house in the middle of the winter. They'd been there for a Kansas City Chiefs watch party. They appeared to be frozen to death. Now it looks like maybe it was a drug overdose. For the first time, the man who was hosting the party and an alleged drug dealer were in court this week. They're charged with murder. How challenging will this case be for prosecutors to prove that both men are responsible for the triple murder in the second degree?
Yeah, hey, Elizabeth, this is not a slam dunk case by any means. It's going to be a challenge. Why? Because the prosecutors, they elevated the charges. They started off with manslaughter, right? That, I think, would have been the more appropriate charge that a jury could wrap their arms around. For example, with manslaughter, it's like, you were reckless, you gave bad drugs to these 3 young men and they died, you were careless, that led to the death. That I think you can prove to a jury that you would get 5 to 15 years. But when you go to second degree murder in Missouri, you've got to prove that 1 of 2 ways. Either the suspects intended on inflicting serious bodily harm to the victims and that led to their death, or the other way is what's called felony murder. And felony murder is when you've committed a felony. Here it would be having the fentanyl and cocaine. That's a felony. But you have to have causation then, that felony of having illegal drugs caused the death. And unless you've got an eyewitness that says, hey, I saw these 2 guys giving the drugs to these victims, it's going to be hard. And then the last one is there was a 4th person's DNA on the drugs as well. So the lawyers for the defendants are going to argue that as well. So it's not an easy.
Yeah, it's a tough case. They're partying, they're doing, I don't know. Listen, I'm sure we'll have both of you back. Brian Claypool, thank you as well. We'll be following the cases. Appreciate you guys and your legal analysis. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right.